So what 24 hours can do in the stock market, eh? I was making a video last night about is there going to be a stock market crash coming Monday, and in fact the stock market has reacted pretty positive today. However, my portfolio, it took a whack today. When we look at Hims and Hers, the crash only applied to Hims and Hers today. Wow, down 32%. And I've gone through a range of emotions today. I've gone through the kind of like the first news about the partnership being ending between Hims and Hers and Novo that came out today, and I was like, okay, yeah, not the worst thing. And then I got to the point of view where I saw like the list of issues that Novo listed against Hims and Hers, and I thought, whoa, there's a lot more. This is a real big hit piece by Novo to Hims and Hers. And then I looked at the response that Andrew Dunham has done, and I've done a little bit more research about what's going on, and I've actually gone, wow, I think Novo and Norsec have been some little bit naughty boys here, and we're going to talk about it all today because I'm sure a lot of you will be keen to get my thoughts on Hims and Hers. So first of all, let's go back to basics. So I'm a Hims and Hers shareholder. I've been a Hims and Hers shareholder for probably around about 4 years now, and I bought since the $6 days, the $3 days, the $2 days, and I'm up a good like 400-500% on my position. And when we look at Hims and Hers, even with a awful day today, look into context, the stock is still up 70% year to date, which isn't terrible, is it? So that's always important to point out. But yeah, today obviously seeing the stock down 33% was definitely not fun. I was just finishing my lunchtime and going back into work, and then I started to see the notifications coming through, and I was like, oh, come on, what's happened now? I thought, okay, the short sellers are playing a game, and then I was looking and thinking, oh, there's a little bit more to this going on at the moment. So let's have my full thoughts on it here. So first of all, the news came out. Novo, Hims and Hers, the partnership they have with Wegovy, the deal has fallen apart. I thought, okay, originally I was looking at that and thinking the reason why is because they signed this deal in April, I believe it was, and then basically they got rid of the old CEO. The CEO got shifted out in about May time, and then the company's gone, you know what we're going to be looking to do is we want to sell back directly to the consumers, where people just come through us and not other partnerships. However, it looks like today that maybe Hims and Hers is the only one that so far has been cancelled, which there's two ways you can look at this. Is that, okay, Hims and Hers actually have a problem and that's why they've cancelled it, or Novo are a little bit scared about, okay, Hims and Hers are a big player here and they're taking a lot of market share away from them. We can't have them as a seller for us because they're taking too much away from us. So that could be the other point of view that they're currently looking at from that point of view. But originally, yeah, that's what I was thinking, is that the partnership they signed a couple of months ago, the new CEO came in and went, yep, we're not doing any of that anymore. We're going more direct to consumer. We're cancelling the partnership. Then we got the press release from Novo, and this is when I just went into work and I had a quick scan. I went, oh, there's some big allegations going on here. So I'll point a few of them out, what was the standout ones for me. So Hims and Hers, deceptive promotion, very strong words, and selling of illegitimate knockoff versions of Wegovy that put patients' safety at risk. So these are, big statements here as well. So they said that they're also using foreign active pharma ingredients in knockoff drugs, as we can see here, and has failed to adhere to the law which prohibits mass sales of compounded drugs under the false guidance of personalizations that put patients' safety at risks. The knockoff drugs sold by telehealth entities and compounded pharmacies are manufactured by foreign suppliers in China. So at first, like, whoa, so these are big statements here, putting patients at risks, knockoff versions at the moment, illegal ingredients. And then eventually I kind of realized what they were talking about. So when you go onto the actual Novo Nordisk website here, they actually talk about compounded semaglutide. And what they refer to as compounded semaglutide as is knockoff compounded. Now, this isn't exactly true. So Novo are doing this as knockoff compounded. Now, what we know about this is compounded that Hims and Hers are selling. The reason that Hims and Hers are selling it is that they can regulate what they're selling to their patients and monitor or add ingredients in that helps improve them. So, for example, if they're taking this semaglutide and they're getting side effects of headaches, they add these ingredients in, and that is a personalized solution that is better for them because they don't have the side effects that we know can happen with semaglutide. Now, the reason why Novo don't like this is because they don't make any money off it. That's the issue. And obviously, Hims and Hers benefit from that situation and take, sales and market gains away from Novo. So what Novo refer to as a knockoff isn't technically knockoff. It's a better solution for the people that are using it. Now, there's still a few back and forth about at the moment if that is allowed, shouldn't be allowed, whatever. But at the moment it is. Now, when I went back and read the press release and realised what they were calling knockoff, a compound, that's totally different. There's a totally different perspective, because what I first read it at the moment is illegal products. At the moment, compounded products aren't illegal. And when they use knockoff ingredients at the moment in the products, I thought by that they meant that they were selling, like, hey, we're selling the Wegovy products, and actually they weren't selling them. That's what I originally took it at. And then I realised what they're referring to is the compounded ones. And as we know, when we look at the US farmers, are they allowed to use their ingredients from China? And at the moment, yeah, ingredients allowed from China. And I thought this was very naughty from Novo, because when I looked into a little bit more detail, then I realised is that what they're referring to is the compounded versions, and the illegal ingredients they're referring to aren't actually really illegal. So this is a big thing to be putting out from Novo Nordisk, that really, if they did want the partnership, they should have just said on the press release, we cancel the partnership, and that's it. The fact that they've kind of had this dig at Hims and Hers when it seems like they're actually referring to things that are allowed to happen in this news release is a little bit naughty. Really naughty from them. Now, obviously Andrew Dunham came out with a response, and he put on here, we are disappointed to see Novo Nordisk management misleading the public. And I felt that as well. Like, after I stood it down a little bit and I realised that probably a lot of this is reference to the compounding, when originally I thought they were saying, like, Hims and Hers been selling some knockoff for the actual products here and making a bit of money off them. I didn't realise it was the compound one. I went, there's probably nothing illegal going on here. Now, I'm not an expert in this field, but from what I'm reading here, that's kind of my takeaway, as you can see here. Now, what was interesting is Novo commercial team increasingly pressured us to control clinical standards and steer patients to Wegovy regardless of whether it was clinically best for patients. So that says to me that Andrew Dunham is saying that Hims and Hers were going, hey, we've got this Wegovy product, but we also have this compound version, and if you're having some side effects, switch to this one, and that will be better for you. And it seems like Novo have gone, no, we've got a partnership now. We don't want to send all these people to the compounded versions. You send them to us. And I think Novo have took the bat and ball home about that. And that's what's happened here. That's what I'm reading into it. I don't know if that's actually true here. So yeah, they talks about this. They talks about that they are going to make sure they give the best thing for the patients. The last paragraph confused me though. This was the only little thing in Andrew Dunham's. Well, there's two things really, and we'll get onto them. So the things that confuse me is that we will continue to offer access to a range of treatments, including the Wegovy weight loss product, which I don't get, because your partnership's just being cancelled with Novo. So I don't know how they're still offering that. I don't know if that's a reference that, hey, we're still going to do the compounded version, which I feel like in that little sentence they probably said, we're still going to offer the compounded Wegovy version, which that little bit of detail makes that little bit of difference. I don't really know. So that's the only thing that kind of really confused me here. And that left me with those kind of... So I'm going to send an email to the investor team, and obviously you guys, if I do get a response, I'll post it on the private group, on the Discord and Patreon. But these are the only questions that I have now, is that I assume the mention of Chinese ingredients is what is used in the compounded solutions, which is allowed, ? Will you be taking any legal action against Novo? Because what we saw here is no mention of this, because obviously this post that they've put out is that it's affected the stock by 33%. It's wiped off 33% of the market cap valuation here. That's a significant amount of money lost because of this Novo post. They could have just cancelled the partnership, but the things they were putting out made it sound like Hims and Hers were doing things that were probably not should be allowed, but from what I can see, it's actually probably okay. So would they want to take some legal action against them? We'll see. So that's something that I wanted to know, because there was no mention of it on here, which I thought would be a point to point out. And the last one is that how are you still able to sell WeGovit with this partnership ending? And I think that is just the clarity of that. Actually, what we meant to say is that we're still selling compounded, because I don't understand how they're still going to sell it otherwise. So that's the only clarification that I need on this situation. But yeah, I went through a range of movement, emotions today, because I was like, first of all, I was like, okay, yep, just a new CEO. He says, you know what, we don't want to carry on this partnership, and yeah, we'll knock it on the head. And then I read the press release from Novo, and I went, wow, there's some big statements in here. And then when I read the press release from Andrew Dunham, and then I actually sat down and read it, I thought, actually, yeah, I think Novo being a little bit naughty boys here. I think they've exaggerated a few situations which are probably allowed at the moment, and made it sound like Hims and Hers are doing things that are a little bit illegal, and from what I can see, they're not. But hey, I'm not an expert in this kind of pharma space, and these ingredients that go into the GLP-1 and what's allowed in the ingredients and what isn't allowed. But that's what I can see. Obviously, the one issue that you have at the moment with the stock being down 33% is the shorts. As we know, Hims and Hers is an incredible shorted stock, which has always blown my mind considering how good the financials are. And any news like this, the shorts are going to love it. They're going to be jumping on it like, hey, this is what we've been waiting for. So that's obviously another reason why the stock is down so much today. One thing that did surprise me as well is that when this did come out from Andrew Dunham, I'm surprised the market didn't react to it. I don't know if that's just because, like I said, I don't know if there was a clarity in the press release, and maybe that's why the market was like, okay, but we're still a little bit unsure. And like I said, that's why I'm sending that email to the investor team, just to get that clarity on, like, so when we talk about these ingredients, you are using ingredients, but it's only in the compounded version, not the actual Wegovy. Like, you're not being knocking off the products here. Will you be taking any legal action here? And also clarity on this Wegovy selling situation. So I'll send that away here. Buying wise about Hims and Hers, am I tempted to buy Hims and Hers? No, not really. I mean, the last time I bought Hims and Hers is when it got into that $27 range, really, $27 range. I'll be honest with you, I'm not really tempted to buy it at the moment. I mean, the financials are amazing, but I mean, by the way, on Stockopedia, I don't know if you noticed, but it says here that on 2026 numbers, it's 67 times earnings, which isn't correct, because they're going to do nearly $1 VPS, and $1 VPS on a $43 stock is like 43 forward times earnings. And I went on this website here, and you can see here, like, they're coming up with forward P of 47 times forward earnings. So yeah, Hims and Hers ultimately is probably around about 47 forward times earnings. I don't really want to buy it at 47 forward times earnings, I'll be honest with you. If the stock has another, like, I don't know, 10, 20% drop, you know what, I might buy then. And you never know with Hims and Hers. We've seen the volatility before. We'll see if that happens. That's probably where I buy. So yeah, I've not bought today. I probably won't buy at all at the moment unless the drop gets a little bit more significant. So we'll see if that happens there. Hopefully get a little bit more clarity around some of the issues that I'm not 100% certain on as well, and a little bit more detail about what's going, what Andrew Dunham says at the moment. But what I'll also say is that, this is why I take profit. I have been in the last, I mean, if you saw my stocks I'm buying video for May, I took a certain amount of good profit here. And this is why I always take a bit of profit off the table, because, if something like this happens, and all of a sudden this, what Novo posted out today turned out to be true, that, it was a bit more serious than what I think they're suggesting here. I'd be sat there thinking, I wish I took some of my 1,000% returns on Hims and Hers. But because I have taken it and I've made money on it, if Hims and Hers went absolutely down the drain, and, the worst case scenario happened where they were putting their patients into serious health concerns, then I'd be like, this is completely worrying. But because I've taken profit off the table, I can relax a little bit and go, well, at least I made a bit of money on it. Obviously, I'll still be peed off, but I can still say I made money on it. And then, the rest, if Hims and Hers just carry on flying and does financially absolutely crush it, then what, we'll do really well here. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Hopefully it's useful. Like I said, my overall thoughts is that I think Novo might have been a little bit naughty here with some of the things they put in that press release and exaggerated a few points. And I hope that Hims and Hers as well give a bit more clarity on the situation, is what I also hope as well, about what they mean by a few things. So yeah, that's where we're at. Hope you enjoyed it. See you in a bit.